Hey guys, and welcome to game number 81 out of 100 of the Mack vs. Machine series, where I'll be playing 100 games of Scrabble against the top online bot, HastyBot. We're currently sitting at 49.5 wins, so we need just one more win to clinch victory in this 100 game series, and let's see if we can get it done right now in game number 81. It's not a great start for us, as HastyBot opens with a bingo of neutral. We do have the Q, but we have the U to go along with it, so not too bad here. Probably going to end up playing something like queened through this E for 34 just to get rid of the Q, score some points, dig a little deeper for some of the S's and blanks that are still in the pool. That looks pretty reasonable. You could consider saving the QU together, but the problem is we don't really have a good way to score a lot of points while doing that, and I'd still rather get rid of them because it's decent for scoring, but it's going to still be relatively tough to bingo with a QU, and especially with HastyBot starting the game off with a bingo, I'd rather try to prioritize bingoing back as soon as possible. So queen looks pretty good. You could also go with Q'd through the U, which scores 2 less points. Keeping the N doesn't really seem better than getting rid of it. I think I actually prefer just a B to BN. That'll give us an extra chance to maybe draw an S or a blank or a tile that's a little bit better. Not that the N is a bad tile with the B, but it doesn't really improve that rack all that much. So I'm going to go ahead and play queened over here. Could also play queen through this E. Don't really think it matters too much, but I'd rather play it here, I think, just to open the bottom side of the board a little bit more effectively. Okay, so HastyBot plays wheel. This is a 4 that does not take an S, so I can't play braze or anything down there. I think badly here is a play that hopefully won't do too badly, pun intended. Keeps PRS, scores 38 points. I don't see us doing any better than this, so I'm going to go ahead and play that. And that worked out very well. He plays Vega, and we have Aspire blank. So we will obviously be bingoing here. It's really a question of where and with what. So we can bingo from this A with Aspirate. That scores 80. I think it's going to be a little bit more if we play something down below, such as Aspirer. Yeah, that's 82. So that seems a little bit better. Also gives back a little bit less, I would imagine. I guess both of them block the bottom row. But Aspirate, for instance, gives back a lot of floaters for him to bingo through. So I think playing on the bottom makes a little bit more sense. I think Aspirer is probably a bit better than Aspires, because Aspires gives him this S to bingo through. Or to bingo 2, I should say. And generally, if you can avoid floating S's, that's good, because they're the easiest tile to bingo through, since, of course, if he has a 7 that's a noun, he can just put it right in front of that S. So I'm going to play, I think I'm going to play Aspire. That seems pretty good to me. Okay, he plays Loci. Tie game right now. Mediocre rack for us. We're close to some bingos like Mortgage, but not going to happen here with a G and 2 T's. I'm liking Tog a lot on the bottom left here. Scores 23. MART is a really good leave, especially if I can pull 1 or 2 vowels. I could also play Mog, which does score 4 more points, but I'd rather unduplicate my T's. Keeping the M is much more flexible for both bingoing and scoring, so I'm going to play Tog. And Zin comes down by the bot. We pull the X. So that's going to probably stop us from bingoing here, but I hopefully can score some points with it. I do have Taxman on my rack, but I don't think there's anywhere particularly good to play that. Axeman as well. Maybe I could just play Max over here next to the LO in Loci. That's not a bad option. It keeps ANRT, which is a very good leave for bingoing. Scores reasonably well. One thing I don't love is if he has an A, he's often going to be able to overlap with Allah and making a hook for Ox and scoring a lot of points. At the same time, I retain an A myself, so if I can pull like a G or a B or an F to go in front of Ox, I could actually draw a high-scoring play. So that's an option. I don't really love saving the X. It doesn't seem like there's any hotspots on this board that are particularly conducive to scoring a lot with the X, so probably better to get rid of it. I don't see anything particularly exciting through this O. I do have Taxon, but it scores fewer than Max. The leave is less good for bingoing. I think I'm going to play Max. I hope I'm not missing something. But it seems about as good as I'm going to do. So he does get dishier down as a bingo, and not a great draw for us. We pulled J, as well as another R. So probably going to end up having to play Raj somewhere, or maybe Jar. Problem is, I don't see a great spot for us to do that. I really don't want to play Jar up here, because that just allows easy overlaps with the O for him, and there's still 6 O's unseen, so he's super likely to have an O. That just sort of gives him a 40-point play for free most of the time. Definitely not something I want to do. Do I have anything here? Jarrer? I don't believe that's a word, so I'm not going to do that. I guess I have Jeer. I hate getting rid of that E, though, since it's such a good bingo tile. Huh. I have no place to get rid of JR without getting rid of the E? I mean, I don't want to play Jar for 10. I find it hard to believe I'm not missing a better play if I go with Jeer. It just really doesn't feel like a good play at all. But at the same time, I just am not seeing anything else. I guess there's Taj, but that keeps 2 R's, which is really, really ugly. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather get rid of the E than keep 2 R's. So I think it's probably fine. As much as I hate getting rid of the E, I'm just not seeing any better options. He just plays Vox. I've drawn into anti-car, but I don't think that's going to play. I don't have any 8s from this M that I see, or anything through this A or this R. So not great. We're still down 60, so we're down a bit, but it's definitely not insurmountable by any means. Have anything with Maxi? Not really. Huh. Yeah, it's annoying because I can't really score much. And I'd love to be able to score some points while also keeping a decent leave. I don't really even have much here. I mean, something like Takan isn't particularly good. It keeps IR, doesn't even really score that much, and shuts down some of my bingo lines. Yeah, the problem is, like, I don't have an S for Jeers. I don't have a lot of ways to use the bingo lines that do exist on this board. Like, my tiles are really bad for this particular board, so it may make more sense to just blow through a bunch of them and try to go all in terms of getting one of the S's. The question is, how do I even go about doing that? I could try to play like Arnica or Karina or something like that. I don't really see a good place to do that either. Antic, Actin, Cairn, maybe Cairn. It does shut down a bit, but I think that's okay. I mean, I'm down 40, but there's still plenty of bingo lines. There's column K, there's the M on row 2, there's this A, there's possible overlaps on row 14. I think I can afford to be a little bit defensive. It's also easy to play from this C and reopen. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And he plays Chef. Pretty ugly draw for us. However, we do get bailed out as this F gives us Triforia. It's only 62 points, but it's still a bingo. And he plays Blonde. Do I have Outspoke anywhere? No, unfortunately. That would be nice. But okay, let's take stock of this new situation here. We're down 39. 12 tiles in the bag. Still a blank and an S. Still some very good tiles. How do I score points? Not sure. I could also just play KOR, which isn't bad. Scores 21, keeps pouts. As long as I pull an E, then that could actually turn into a pretty good rack. I could also play Cop down here. Scores a few more. Getting rid of the P is maybe not a bad thing. It's likely going to maximize my bingo percentage, as there's still some high point tiles like the F, the G, the M, and the Y to draw, and this does give me one extra shot at drawing the blank or some of the better vowels and bingo tiles. So probably Cop is a little bit better than Core. And I'm not seeing anything that is going to score more points. I definitely don't want to play Cop up here or something like that. Just gives back way too many points to Hasty. Yeah, I think I'm going to play Cop down here. So he bingos, and pretty clunky draw for us. Do we have any chances here? I doubt it. We're down 90. We're going to probably need a bingo and then some. So maybe is there any way he doesn't block the triple-triple? I mean, there's only 2 in the bag. There's nothing I can draw through that T. Is there if I just fish off like an O or an S? Like, what if I fish off an O? If I draw an E, don't think there's anything. F gives me out fast, which doesn't quite work. G, M, nothing, N, nothing, and O, nothing. If I fish off an S, probably nothing here either. It's a pretty clunky rack. Yeah, I don't think that works. So what if I play off like SO or something? If I play SOT, let's say. What if I draw like... I'm not even sure what I can draw, to be honest. EN? Sutane? That doesn't actually help me. Yeah, this is probably lost. Yeah, I'm just not really seeing any reasonable path to victory here. Yeah, I'm going to just go ahead and play SOT. Maybe I can pull something that he doesn't block. I don't think there's actually anything I can draw through that T. Outfeast? No, that doesn't fit either. But there's really nothing else to do here. I mean, there's no way for me to open up a new line while only playing 2 tiles. So let's see what happens. Okay, so he plays Fee. I ended up drawing 2 more vowels anyway, so this was definitely going to be futile. He's got 4 consonants, so he's not going to be going out. If I block Mung up here, then that's probably my best bet. Problem is, I can't actually play out Eats, because Mung still plays for even more, and I have the same problem with out 8. These would be my 2 best plays, but I can't actually play either of those. Maybe Outa. That looks a little bit better. And then I should have plenty of places to go out with OSE next turn. Yeah, that looks reasonable. It's actually not super easy to play OSE for a lot of points, but I'll at the minimum be able to go out somewhere. Maybe I'm better off playing Outa here. Yeah, because that sets up OES over here. I think that's actually going to net me more. So let's go ahead and do that. So he just drops the M. I actually still don't have to go out, because with G and N, he's certainly not going to be playing out on his next turn. So I wonder if am I better off just playing OE and then playing the S for a lot next turn? Possibly. I don't know how much I'm going to actually get for this S, though. That's the problem. Like, I don't really have anywhere where I can score a lot of points with the S. Maybe... Oh, I'm running out of time. Okay, let me just go out. Yeah, I probably should have just played, like, OR and then maybe found a better spot for ES. Probably had a slightly better endgame there, but at that point it was going to be moot as far as the outcome of the game. So another win for HastyBot to stay alive in the series, 471 to 393. I don't know, I felt a little bit unsatisfied with that game. I felt like I was getting some good momentum back after Aspirer, and then just kind of couldn't get anything going. Max and Karen were both fairly unsatisfying plays. I'm not necessarily thinking they were mistakes, but let's take a look. So going back to the beginning, after neutral, yeah, queened looks fine. Again, I think it's a little bit better than queued. Really no reason to sacrifice the 2 points here. BN isn't better than B, really. I mean, the N is not a bad tile, but it's not like the N is particularly good with the B, so I'd rather get rid of it, score an extra 2 points, and give myself another shot to draw a blank or an S. He plays, oh wow, wheel keeping CGV. That's a pretty ugly looking play. But I guess all his options here are pretty ugly. I mean, Clue keeps EEGV, which is very bad as well. Venge is not a play you want to make because of the A-hook that you don't hold. That's extremely scary. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe this is just his best option here. CGV is such a bad leave. But he does at least score 27 points. It doesn't give back much because wheel doesn't take an S. And there just are no good options at all. So... I don't know. I mean, you could play 12 just to clear up the rack as much as you can, but you're still keeping CG and sacrificing 13 points. So really awful set of options for him. Badly looks good. I could play Drably. I actually saw that right as I was hitting my clock, but I don't see a compelling reason to put a D in the middle of the triple line. The R goes really well with SP, so I don't mind sacrificing the 2 points to keep a stronger bingo leave and not give him a D to work with over there. You could make the case that Badly actually gives back a lot of overlaps, like the word that he played of Viga. It's possible that when he can't hit the triple line too bad, Badly actually gives him more in a lot of cases, but of course the disaster scenarios are so much worse after Drably that I still think Badly is quite reasonable. Oh, I missed Airspace over here. That's probably a little bit better than what I played. I only saw Aspirate. I didn't actually see Airspace played from the A for 86, which is 4 more points than the bingo I played down here. These wrecks can be a little bit overwhelming just because there's so many different possible bingos. It can be a little daunting to look through all of them, but I should have at least seen Airspace. I didn't really look further there after Aspirate, and I probably should have. Yeah, I don't think any compelling reason to not take the 4 extra points from Airspace as opposed to Aspirer, so yeah, that's a little bit of a mistake. Not a massive mistake, but definitely not a negligible mistake. So he plays Lokai. Yeah, Tog seems fine here. You could play Tom or Mog, but the G is so much worse than the M, and so is the duplicate T, so I think sacrificing a couple points with Tog is perfectly reasonable. Tough rack for the bot. Yeah, Zin or Tiz both seem fine. Zin blocks this T, so maybe a little bit more prudent, but it's basically an even game either way here. Yeah, and I guess there really isn't much else with Max. I saw Moxa, but Moxa gives back quite a lot too, in the form of this bingo line on the third row, which would score quite a lot, especially if he starts with, say, an F or an H. So I wasn't a fan of that. I guess I could just play Tax, but this leaves a little too constant heavy for my liking. 4 constants and 1 vowel is generally not ideal. So yeah, maybe Taxon, which I did see during the game. But Max has 5 more points, and ANRT is just so much more likely to bingo next turn than AMR. So I think Max is probably reasonable. It's not a satisfying play, but probably a reasonable one to make. And let's see. So he plays Dishier, and I apparently did miss... Oh, I missed Raj here. That's really weird, because I saw Raj, and I just didn't register this spot. So yeah, this is almost certainly a better play just because it keeps the E. I'm definitely correct to pass up Jar over here, but I just flat out didn't see Raj in this spot. I mean, the nice thing about Jir is it does keep the board a little bit more open. Raj really starts to close down this part of the board, which isn't great. Gier does keep it more open between this R that I'm opening on column L and also the S hook on column M if I can draw one of the S's. So there is something to be said for that, given I'll be playing from a deficit, but probably better off just playing Raj here, keeping the stronger leave. There's still the K column for sevens. There's still bingos possible on row 2, column H perhaps. So I think it's not a big mistake just because the board dynamics are considerably better after Gier, but probably the leave is better enough after Raj that I should have gone with that. He plays Vox here. That looks pretty good. He's got a clunky rack and B, E, F, H, and T. Of course, not the type of leave he's going to say bingo with, but it's got great scoring potential. And at this point, he's probably thinking as long as he can avoid a big bingo on my part, then he can continue to keep scoring and hopefully just outrun anything that I might have. So yeah, not a lot of great options for me here. I missed Circa. It's funny, I was looking at this spot. I just had a lot of weird lapses this game, I feel like. I was looking at this spot, I just didn't see Circa. That's better than Karen just because it's, again, board dynamics, right? It keeps the game a lot more open. It gives me a new bingo line on the 4th row over here, whereas Karen really starts to shut it down and make it a little bit more difficult for me for a comeback. So it also scores 2 more points, Circa does, so that's another thing in favor of Circa. Definitely a better play. Not a huge fan of a new ACIRT. Doesn't seem like a great bingo leave, especially given my floaters to work with are another A and another R. So I'm not a fan of a new, but I should have definitely played Circa here. That's, again, not like a huge mistake, but another small to medium mistake, and they definitely do add up. So I was slightly bailed out here by his play of Chef, as that gave me a bingo of Triforia. So I'm only down 13 points now, and hanging in there a little bit. But yeah, after Blonde, I didn't really have a lot of good options here. I saw Core, but I wasn't a huge fan of the P because there are a lot of other scoring tiles unseen, like the F, G, M, Y. So I guess the G isn't really a scoring tile so much, but the F, M, and Y for sure. So it didn't seem that valuable, so I decided I'm better off spending it, scoring an extra 3 points, giving myself another shot at the blank, and also just increasing my bingo percentage a little bit so I can hopefully draw something on column K or maybe through this A on column H. But yeah, at this point he lands 2 toids for a nice 7-letter word on column K, and yeah, there's really not much else to be done here. I don't even know what I was fishing for with Sot. Like I said, I didn't actually see anything I could really draw through that T. So yeah, I mean, I don't think this is at all winnable. Of course, against a human, it's completely lost because they'll just block anything I might reasonably hit. But even against HastyBot, I don't think there's anything I could actually fish for. Like I said, Outfasts or Outfeast aren't going to fit. So I could probably also just throw in the towel and play Outa if I want to save spread. But I decided to throw down Sot and figured maybe there's something I wasn't seeing with the pool that I would draw. Yeah, the bot almost certainly should be playing Gunman over here to save multiple high-scoring outs with FE. That would have been a way better play than playing Fee over here. And again, I first thought about out eats, but then I realized that would give back Mung over here, making N, and Ag for a large score for the bot. So this would be a much inferior endgame to just playing Outa over here and saving many outplays with EOS. And yeah, after Am, I guess I missed OES here for 1 more spread point, but probably I would have been better off, to be honest, just playing something like JO and then going out with ES next turn. It's hard to say because even though he can't go out, I do still allow him to unload a couple of his tiles. He still has plays like Lang or GNU over here that score 6 points and also get rid of the G in the end. So he actually nets 12 more points because he's scoring 6 more and no longer losing the 3 times 2 or 6 points from the GN that I'll get for going out. So I may actually be better off going out here. It's hard to say, and I didn't really have time to compute it, and it's completely moot at this point in the game. The game's completely lost. It'll just be a matter of a couple spread points, which I don't really care about at this point in the series, especially. So yeah, 1 spread point would have been saved by playing OES over here, but instead I go out up here. And the game ends 471 to 393. So, yeah, a bit of a sloppy game. I mean, no major mistakes, but airspace instead of Aspirer is definitely a mistake. Karen instead of Circa was definitely a mistake. So these small mistakes definitely do add up. And also probably Raj instead of Jir would have been a little bit better. That one's a little bit less clear. But in any case, a slightly sloppy game for me. Not too happy with the way I played. So I guess maybe a well-deserved loss. But yeah, in any case, HastyBot does live to see another day in this series. It is now 49.5 to 31.5. And maybe I can, instead of this game, clinch it in game number 82. So we will find out very soon. I hope to see you all there. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one. Bye-bye.